That's what my mama said. Hey, ma. I wanna talk to the mayor, to the governor, to the motherfucking president, cause I'm a resident, like a president. Born in 87 and the rich been getting richer ever since. Corporations and people, do they go through hell? I see them get bailouts, do they go through jail? This shit is wrong and I'm tired of losing. Supreme Court went and made corruption legal through the Citizens United ruling. Meanwhile in Iraq and Afghanistan, there's still blood on the hands of Americans. There's been a few trillion spent, couple million.
Not even personal.
Business arrangement.
You know,
I'm gonna get my people there before you allow me.
Exactly. It's not personal.
We need to eat before you eat.
Right. Exactly. You know, people like George Washington, people like Patrick Henry, people like Thomas Jefferson were Masons. There's nothing against Masons because there are people that I'm friends with that are Masons. Honestly, Dr. John Henry Clark was a Mason. Dr. Joseph Ben Yankton was a Mason. So to say that, oh, Masons, they're with the Illuminati, no. That's frivolous, that's mendacious, that is not factual, and you will not get taken seriously by saying that because some of the most respectable people for the liberation of African people were Masons. And of course, if you study Masonic thought, by looking at the symbolism, it goes back to us. Like your shirt. Like your shirt, of course. With the symbolism, of course. So the thing is that if you study that, it goes back to the civilization, it goes back to the buildings that we created, the architectural manifestations that we created, from the pyramids, from the temple of the Karnak temple of ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt, ancient Nubia. I was over there when I was in Egypt in 2010. Or whether we're going to talk about the temple of Waset or the temple of Luxor, if you will, or the temple of Dendera. Those are the original universities on the globe, but those are the first Masonic temples on the globe. And of course, with people like George Washington and the various others that have gone through the craft, they know this. That's what they were initiated into learning. So they know about us, they know about our greatness, they know about what we contributed to civilization. It's just that in order to justify this system, in order for them to maintain wealth, power, control, and legitimacy, it's just that they can't educate us about our past because they know that if we were to have the knowledge of that, then we could potentially change and reform the social and political order. So what we need to do, exactly. So what we need to do, Hotep Queen, long time no see. Respect, peace, King. So what we need to do is understand that we are a great people, and not just know that we're a great people, know that we have work to do as a people. Because the person or the group of people that own the most lands are the ones that are in control. It's like monopoly. The more properties that you own, the more control and the more influence that you have as a people. So we cannot get caught up into the superficialities of these various dogmas or these various philosophies and these various ideologies. We can't get caught up in the propaganda. Republican, Democrat, or this, that, or the other, because they are all the same. They're all the same. It's all business. America is a business. It's not personal, it's a business. So what we need to do is we need to get into that mindset. We can say, oh, the Jews and the Chinese, they're doing that. No, we need to look in the mirror and take accountability. Because with all the money that we spent outside of the community, we could have pulled them resources together so that we could have rented out or owned that specific location so that we could open up a restaurant. Own that specific location so that we could open up that funeral service. Or own that specific location so that we could open up that financial firm. Or utilize our resources so that we can own that building or rent out that property so that we could have a school. So there are a lot of things that we could do. It's all within our hands, and we have the upper advantage. These immigrants, they're still learning this country. We've been here for 400 plus years, so we can utilize our knowledge. 400 plus years, and also not even counting the Africans that circumnavigated the globe and have been in the Americas before Columbus even existed. So, of course, with the knowledge that we do have is inexcusable. What we need to do is take accountability within our own hands so that we could build upon it, and that goes into a philosophy that I created called AfroLiberty, Afrocentric libertarianism, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to give that speech on October the 13th at William Patterson University. So, as it relates to that, we need to build our institutions, and we need to take the potential energy that we have as it relates to a knowledge of self, as it relates to our knowledge of melanin, our knowledge of the African global contribution to civilization, as it relates to African American contribution to civilization, as it relates to the inventions that we created within the Americas around the time of the Industrial Revolution or the Agrarian Revolution, if we will. We need to take that, our knowledge from the past, we need to internalize that, and what we need to do is create within this technological age that we're living in today. That's what we need to do. So with this business that I have, Libertas LLC, this business is focused on that. That's what we're focused on. But mainly the focus is mainly on real estate. As it relates to stocks, stock is equity within the business. Equity means ownership within the business, meaning that you give a certain amount of money to someone with an idea, and then in exchange for that, you have equity within the business. So then once you give the person that money and they have the specialized knowledge within that specific business, what they could do is they could create that business so that it can harness and grow. You understand where I'm coming from? And this has been practiced ever since the year one, ever since we've existed. Before the Neolithic Revolution 2,000 years ago. Neolithic means new age. Or before the Paleolithic Revolution. Humans have been doing that. It's commerce, it's business, it's exchange. People say, yeah, exactly. Let me tell you something. People talk about, oh, the free market this, the free market that, and things of that nature. Let me tell you something. The free market and capital predates capitalism or Adam Smith's philosophy from the Wealth of Nations of 1776. We've been involved with free enterprise and free market within the markets within Africa. You know, like the open markets where people would assemble and buy goods and services, people would network with one another, talk about what's going on within the community. That predates that. So when people say, oh, the dollar or business, that's anti-African, that's anti-our people, no, that's bullshit as well. That is factual, that's something that we started, it is a way of life, and that's the way, oh, pardon my language, I apologize. And that's the way in which we were able to provide for our people. They existed. There are various secular societies, whether you want to talk about the Igbo society, in which they don't believe in a dictatorship, they don't believe in someone being the head or anything like that. They believe in decentralization. Or whether you want to talk about the Somalis. That's why there's a lot of conflict in Somalia now. That's the reason why they're dysfunctional now. Because their society isn't structured like that. For thousands upon thousands of years, you had different tribes of people that were involved in, and they were herdsmen, people that were involved in trading cattle. Leave them alone. Let them do what they do. They believe in decentralization. They believe in a decephaless society in which people could coexist and then people could accumulate wealth among themselves to the point at which their value is not the currency. Their value is the cattle. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So different societies, depending on the geographical and the climatological nuances, that's the way the society is structured. So no group of people is any better than the other. They respond to the environment that they live in, and what they do is respond to the environment that they live in so that they can feed their people. Because at the end of the day, it's about feeding your family. It's about feeding your family, but us African people are communal people, from the family to the tribe to the nation to the globe. We're global people, so that's what we need to understand.
Peace, everyone. Welcome to the Baruti Libre Show, and I'm your host, the Baruti Libre Kafele. My topic for the Baruti Libre Show today is stages for a successful social movement. Now, with anything in life, any initiative, any project, you need to have stages. There's an anatomical, elementary, and a rudimentary structure in order to bring about growth and also to bring about progress. Now back to the subject matter at hand. The definition of a social movement is a collective movement of an aggregate of people to bring about change within a given society. That's what a social movement is. Social movements have three different classifications. You have revolutionary movements, you have resistance movements.
Every time I act out, they try to call the cops up. Don't know who they make this for, but it's not us. The state of depression enough to keep a fake nigga guessing that we the sole cause for our own scathing regression. Wanna make a black man crazy, make him a weapon. Promote how it's for the sake of protection. Soon as you use it, lock him down. Tell him his mistake was...